Hi everybody, I'm Mama K, and thanks for tuning in and watching another episode of Mama K's Kitchen Lab. Coming up, we've got our next episode. Enough with the introductions, let's get on with the video, and make sure that at the end that you subscribe down below, or if you're watching this on Instagram, make sure that you head on over to my YouTube channel so you can watch the entire video, and stay tuned for the next episode. So, with that said, let's get going. Hi everybody, Mama K here, and one of the things I'm going to be doing today for you is just talk a little bit about doing some spiced apples, but we're going to turn it into lacto-fermented applesauce. I've got another video that I will be posting talking about just doing the plain old spiced apples with just sliced apples. But this one is going to be doing applesauce lacto-fermentation style instead of cooking it down in a pot or a crock pot. So what I have here is just your standard quart jar that I've rinsed out with a little bit of my special SCOBY vinegar mix that's good for cleaning things as well as sterilizing jars. They've been washed first and then I rinsed them out with some vinegar just to make sure that the soap and stuff was out of there. They're ready to go. I've got my little canning funnel. And then most importantly, what I have in front of me here is this big thing of apples that I've cut up. They're just a variety of apples. We just cut them up into tiny little pieces. And then on this, what I've got is some spice mix, pretty much your standard spice mix for spiced apples. So cinnamon, allspice, cloves, nutmeg, that sort of thing, grated ginger. I am using some spice powder because I love using that. So that's kind of fun. Different taste. Did I say grated ginger already? If I didn't, grated ginger. And then I think that was it for spices. And then I have my kombucha first fermentation liquid that I have put in here. And I did use just a little bit of that SCOBY vinegar stuff that I was mixing or mentioned before that I'll be adding into this just as well. So to make sure that we have a nice little starter culture for this to ferment. So these are going to go into these jars and they're going to hang out probably 1 to 2 days and they'll get all nice and bubbly. And then we will take a look at them, make sure we get them nice and mashed up, and they'll turn into applesauce. At that point we'll put them in the fridge and probably for another day or so, and then they will be ready to eat as applesauce. I did add some cane sugar to this too, if I didn't mention that. There's a little bit of cane sugar in here, but I'll add the majority of the cane sugar actually will add after this is all done when I'm ready to actually serve this stuff up. This particular batch, I'm going to be using it in a cake that I'll be making later this week for a friend of mine that wants a vegan gluten-free cake, so we'll be doing that. So this is for you. Special kitchen lab experiment. We're doing this, and I actually have plenty of apples here, so actually we'll be putting some of these in the crock pot to let those cook down, kind of the old school way too. So we'll have both the lacto-fermented applesauce as well as some regular applesauce coming up out of the kitchen lab within the next couple days. The applesauce will be ready tomorrow that comes out of the crock pot. And again, the stuff going in the jars will be ready in a day or two. So that's it. I'm going to shove all this stuff in here, and then when I get that done, I will be right back. Alright, magic of video. I've got my apples now in my jars, and want to make sure that I have my little pushy tool here, like being pushy. I'm just going to pack this in here a little bit just to make sure there's not a whole lot of extra air. Just to make sure all this liquid that we're going to add in here gets down in there. But also just want to make sure that everything is down far enough so it can get submerged, stay submerged under the liquid. I'm not going to use any weights. I'm going to be pushing plastic wrap onto the top of that, which is one of my favorite methods when something I know these aren't going to float a whole lot, but just put some plastic wrap in there and that'll keep that stuff submerged. So I've got here, so beautiful. It's that liquid that was some of the spices and that kombucha starter that we're going to add in here. So we're going to put that a little bit in each one of these guys. Let that go down in there. And then what I have is just basic water. We're going to just fill this up. And again, as we always do, we're going to make sure that we have plenty of headspace in here. So when this fermentation stuff starts happening, it doesn't blow up out of our jars. And I'm not sure if that's making it onto the video, but my household assistant here is hunting a mouse in the background. It's not a real mouse, it's just a fake mouse. But yes, one of my lovely cats, the princess, is currently hunting. So yeah, I don't know if that's showing up on the video, but if it's not, it's wonderful background for me. More entertaining for me. So anyway, we've got, back to the apples, just going to make sure that all this stuff is submerged under the water. And then I'll put some plastic wrap on that, and that's going to hang out in our fermentation area that I've got going on here in my kitchen. And a very warm kitchen tonight because I've been doing a lot of things. Anyway, so that's it. This is going to be applesauce. And I took all the rest of those apples. Those are in a crock pot. No need to share that with you because that's just, you know, boring crock pot stuff. So anyway, I'll add some more sugar and stuff to that, and that's just going to be a different preparation of this. But this is the preparation of lacto fermentation applesauce. And again, I have a whole bunch of different kinds of apples in here. Gala, Fuji, I think a Cosmic Crisp, a Golden Delicious, Red Delicious, and I think there's a Jazz apple too there too as well. I got a bunch of different ones when I was at the store the other day. Braved the store to go to the produce section because I just don't trust those shoppers to buy my produce for me, especially apples. The last time I tried that, no, never ever again. So I will mask up and come home and silkwood shower and take care of my own produce. Thank you very much. Anyway, pandemic aside, this is a fun thing to do, and we'll see how this goes in a couple of days. We'll check it out and see how it looks. And again, this is another thing with apples that we don't want to let this sit out at room temperature too long, because this will start turning into alcohol, which is not a terrible thing, but not what we're looking for right now. And again, if I haven't mentioned it on another video that you've seen, maybe that's something we can try down the road, but what I'm looking for is to have this be applesauce and not alcohol. So anyway, that's what we're doing, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another video. Hi everybody, I'm Mama Kay, and once again, welcome to the kitchen lab. So today I am making spiced fermented apples just in time for the holiday season. I'm actually going to be taking these and making these into a cake later on this week for the Christmas holiday. So this is something new and different that I'm trying out. Have actually not made fermented apples before, so this is going to be a good experiment, but I've had pretty good successes with a lot of other things, so we're going to do this one. Anyway, so I just took a couple of good apples. Actually, I got some nice Cosmic Crisp apples, which have a little sweetness, a little bit of tartness to them. Not a whole lot of tartness, but enough sweetness to them. Cut them up in nice little slices. And then what I did was I mixed, I have my spice blend, which is some cinnamon, 5-spice powder, because I love using 5-spice powder. And got that all mixed up in this bowl here. And I added a little bit of kombucha starter liquid to it, which is another one of my favorite processes to add to this. It adds a nice little starter for the fermentation process. And again, this is doing the lacto fermentation process that I like to do, which basically just means that we're not adding any vinegar to it, and not like doing a regular canning process. We're just kind of letting all the natural things happen, all the natural bacteria and everything take over. And this will sit for, this is actually apples, fresh fruit like apples, usually don't take very long to ferment. If you leave them ferment for much longer than a couple days, you get the start of some apple alcohol, which is not what I'm looking for today, although that could be a tasty experiment later on. But we are not making alcohol. We're just going to make some spiced apples. And again, I have the sliced apples, the spice mixes in here, and in my little jar, you can kind of see I've got a little bit of grated ginger, fresh ginger in there. We're going to be adding each of these. We're going to do a couple little cinnamon sticks as well. So all I'm going to do right now is try to get these apples in here. So I will pause this while I do that, because this is a fun little struggle trying to make it look nice. And all right, not without struggle. Apples are in the jars along with the cinnamon stick. So those are all packed in there pretty tight. They'll be able to actually stay down in there pretty well without actually having to be weighted down. But I probably will put some plastic wrap over there just to kind of help keep it under the submerged brine. And for that brine, actually, we're going to take the little bit of that starter stuff that we put together to mix into the apples. We are going to pour that over both of these little guys. So that is in there. And then what I'm going to end up doing is then just covering this up with water the rest of the way. And they're good to go. If I didn't mention, there's also a little pinch of salt in each of these. And that's pretty much it. So the spice mix, the cinnamon stick, the ginger, the apples, a little starter from my kombucha, and some water, and these guys are going to be ready to go. This is a pretty easy one. Probably the longest part about this is just kind of taking the time to slice up all the apples, which if you're fast in the kitchen with a knife, that actually isn't that bad. So this whole process really is pretty quick and easy. It'll just be a patience game than waiting for 1 to 2 days for this to be ready to test out. The apples will probably start doing some nice bubbling and everything, and then they will be ready to go. We'll take that and we will put that in the refrigerator, and then it'll be all ready to go for when I make the cake later this week. So pretty excited about this one. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. Hey, it's Mama Kay, and we're here on day 3 of the spiced apples and spiced applesauce fermentation process. These little babies have been sitting around for 3 days, just kind of doing their thing. I'm going to get the camera turned around here so you can take a look at what it looks like, and then we'll pull a little bit out and do some stuff with it. Alright, so what we are looking at right now is the spiced apple concoction. If I move this around a little bit, you'll see a few bubbles kind of pop up a little bit. Not too many bubbles, but that's okay. It is looking like it's got some pretty good color in there. You can see it's all the sugars and stuff in there, and there's some good cloudiness to the liquid. So that means that there's doing lots of good things. So, and that's my cinnamon stick in there. But the apples themselves got some good color. I can see the spices in there, and I can actually, the smell of this is just smells like apple pie actually. Alright, so what we're going to do is pull one of these guys out so we can take a little closer look at it. That's some nice fermenty, sugary goodness happening on there. And you can see all the nice little color levels on it. So I just cut this one open so you can kind of see if the camera will let me focus in on here. There we go. So you can see the nice color levels. It's not quite doing like what a pickle would do, like a half sour if we were doing half sours at the moment. But that you still get some of the coloring from the apple peel, and then some of the white in there from just sitting out and hanging out. But it's nice and crisp still, but it's got some really good cinnamony flavor to it. So that's going to be really good in our cake that we're going to be making. Alright, so next up we've got our spicy apples that we're going to turn into some applesauce. You can kind of see some bubbles there on the side. Oh, there's some bubbles there. As we're just moving this around. We leave this sit out too much longer and it's going to turn into some alcohol. So we don't really want that. Not that that's a bad thing in general, but that's not what we're looking for. We still have a few of the peels, got some color to them, but most of the colors kind of faded into all the liquid. We'll take a look here at the top, and you can see some of the spicy stuff there, all those nice bubbles that have come to the surface. Got some cloudiness. It kind of looks more like sugary water, but again, we only put a little bit of sugar in this when we were actually making it. So I'll be adding in some sugar to taste as I get this all blended up. So yep, there's some nice color in those ones there at the top, right along the side, some nice red from the peels. There's some more bubbles happening. So these guys are going to be good. What I'm going to do is pause this first. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be taking our apples that we've got, that we just took out, the stuff for the applesauce. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in a blender, get it blended up. Still have a nice some chunks in it. Just getting it kind of a little bit mushy so that it's more applesaucey than chunks of apples. And then I'm going to actually let them sit and hang out. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator to let them do additional fermenting until I'm ready to make the cake tomorrow. But this should be really good to go for the cake, and it's going to add another layer of flavor and some of that nice moisture and binding thing that I need for some cake that is vegan and gluten-free. So we'll blend this up, and we'll take a look at it in a second. Alright, so I got this in the blender. Got some nice chunks. I did give it a little taste test here and have decided that it is pretty sweet enough that I don't need to add any additional sugar. Lots of that natural sugars from the apples, plus just that little bit that of sugar, cane sugar that I added in before, have actually made this just about perfect. So I don't really like my applesauce too sweet anyway, so this is going to be good. We're going to put this back in a jar and just kind of let it hang out until I'm ready to make the cake tomorrow. Alright, so there you have it. Apples, fermented apples into spiced apples and some applesauce. Pretty tasty, and this stuff will keep in the fridge for a little while. Especially because it's in the refrigerator, it won't start fermenting into the apple alcohol we were talking about before. But this has got some nice flavor, and actually most of this stuff is going to go to use in cake making. Alright, what you're looking at now is the vegan gluten-free cake that I made using those fermented apples, the two different kinds. Inside of the cake we've got the sliced apples as well as some of that applesauce. On top of the cake is applesauce that I made with a brown butter sauce. That actually is a plant-based butter that I have. And then on top of that is the coconut cream caramel and candied almonds. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go over to the my YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe to that, and make sure you're following me on Instagram. Keep watching and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video, make sure that you subscribe down below. And if you're watching this on Instagram, make sure that you head over to my YouTube channel so you can watch the entire video. Anyway, have a great day, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.